Here, too, salt in tablet form helps these troops avoid heat exhaustion and prostration. Salt. How commonplace it seems. And yet, these tiny white grains represent a fundamental necessity of our existence.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Darkside Phil here, and welcome to my E3 2018 coverage. We're starting off with the very first press conference that took place this weekend on Saturday. It was the EA, Electronic Arts Press Conference. Now, typically this press conference, it's always a mixed bag. Sometimes you get a lot of good stuff. Sometimes you get a lot of fluff. A lot of the times during the EA press conference, people get upset because they spend so much time focused on sports games. And let's face it, most people who buy the sports games aren't going to run out and watch E3. They know that the sports games come out every year, and there's really not a reason to spend a lot of time on them regardless, yet they always do, okay? So, as usual, yes, EA was a very big mixed bag this year, but let's go step by step through the entire press conference to outline exactly what happened during it so you can know exactly what went down. I'll give you my opinions on the fly as we start. All right, stories of people involved in World War II. I'd throw this back to, you know, exactly how it was with Battlefield 1, where they had the separate stories of people who were involved in World War 1. So it seems like this is going to kind of be more of the same. And then they announced the big surprise of the Battlefield part of this show. Battlefield's going to have Royale. Royale! I mean, what an original concept. Something that we've always wanted and never gotten from any games recently. And finally, these game developers are going outside weapons. So you'll, during the course of the game, be able to unlock, you know, skins for your weapons. Your soldier will be able to look different and the like, and your vehicles and stuff. Think Call of Duty. I hate to say it, but Call of Duty has been doing this now for several years, completely customizing the characters. And now it seems like, you know, Battlefield's now going that route, realizing that Call of Duty has done it successfully for so long, and that's what people want. So they're going to now, you know, do it in Battlefield as well. Woohoo, right? Then they talk about the single-player campaign is going to be called War Stories. It's going to be different stories of people involved in World War II. I'd throw this back to, you know, exactly how it was with Battlefield 1, where they had the separate stories of people who were involved in World War 1. So it seems like this is going to kind of be more of the same. And then they announced the big surprise of the Battlefield part of this show. Battlefield's going to have Royale. Royale! I mean, what an original concept. Something that we've always wanted and never gotten from any games recently. And finally, these game developers are going outside of the box, breaking free of the norms that you would see, and adding Royale to a game. It's... I can't even be sarcastic anymore. Like, you're adding the same mode that's in every other game? Wow! You know, like, it's just kind of silly. For free, I played it for 3 days, saw all the content in the game, said, this game sucks, deleted it from my Xbox One, will never play it again, and that was it, and I didn't pay a dime for it, right? What's to stop me from doing that with Anthem next year, right? Anthem is a game that seems like it's going to be on the fence. I'll talk about it, because that was the last thing they talked about in their press conference. We're getting to that. But Anthem, I think a lot of people, what's going to happen, oh, I want to try Anthem. They're going to get this Game Pass, play it for a few days. If I like it, great, I'll keep it. If not, we're going to dump it, and then no one bought Anthem. You see what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be kind of the same deal. So, it's good, long-term, if EA gets new customers in who aren't going to buy their games normally if they get this Game Pass, right? Or effort into developing, listening to the feedback from the fans, and no one's playing it anymore. And it's a shame because DICE has planned out seasons of content, free release content for this game, and you probably got, what, 1/5 of the initial player base actually still playing the game and seeing any of this new content because no one cares. I'm one of them. I don't care that right now there's a new season out. You know what I mean? I just don't care. I'm not going to go back to that game. So, anyway, the guy from DICE comes out and basically does a big public apology of how they botched the launch of Battlefront 2. And he says, now we've retooled the progression tree. It's no longer based on loot boxes. Now you earn it by the amount you play and how well you do, etc. Which is how it should have been at launch, but they're like, oh, we didn't get it. I mean, it's sad because, you know, it's not DICE's fault. It's EA's fault. You know, EA told them you have to find a revenue tree. You have to find a way to have a constant revenue stream from this game because it's a big game we're putting money into. And they ruined the game because of it. A game that was time, effort, and everything. And this is why people don't like EA as a publisher. Because EA always interjects their money-sucking tentacles into every fucking franchise that they put out there to try to find a way to make money. And it ruins everything. A lot of times, you know. And here's an example of a game that if it had a proper progression tree and they just said, let's just sell a shitload of this game at launch because it's good, rather than let's sell us some copies and then make a revenue stream out of it, it would have been a better game, but now it's ruined, right? So the guy comes out and he says, you know, just so you know, we are going to continue to support the game even though it had a, you know, really bad launch. Right now, we've just launched the Han Solo. And the big thing, and this one, sadly, all right, I hate to say it, but this is the saddest one. Oh, by the way, we've listened to all your fan feedback, and we have a whole Clone Wars season coming up where we're going to have General Grievous and Count Dooku against Obi-Wan and his Padawan Anakin Skywalker, and we're going to have all Clone Wars content, because you guys love Clone Wars. It's true. The Clone Wars franchise of Star Wars is one of the most profitable ever. You know, the cartoons, the comic books, the toys ended up being ginormously popular in the 2000s and made a ridiculous amount of money. So it makes sense that they would finally bring the Clone Wars to Star Wars Battlefront 2, but it's like too little too late. You know, that would, if the Clone Wars were part of the initial launch of the game, it probably would have done way better. But now you're putting it out, you know, almost a year later, no one cares. So it's sad because you're like, man, Clone Wars are good, but realistically, who's going to play that content? Probably almost no one. Like I said, 1/5 of the initial installed player base are still playing the game. And those are the people who will actually see the Clone Wars content. I honestly felt legitimately sad and bad for this game developer who seemed genuinely sympathetic and just dejected on stage. He did. He seemed like he was depressed because this was a game he put so much work into and no one's playing it anymore. And they're still putting work into it and no one's playing it because of what EA did. It's sad. And that's sad that you see that at a press conference, right? At the fucking EA press conference, we're seeing this. Coca-Cola shirt tomorrow, but today I wore my full Fallout 4, you know, Vault Boys t-shirt, which is just as good in my opinion. All right, now, yeah, now we're going into full gear for the second half of the EA press conference, folks. So let's go to our second template and let's jump right in there. All right. Okay. Let's talk. So they continue on now. Everything that I've said up to this point, has there been literally a major announcement whatsoever in anything that I mentioned? No. And that was almost like 30 to 40 minutes of the EA press conference. Nothing's happened yet. So, admittedly, the audience and everyone's deflated. They're like, man, this is kind of boring. You know, 40 minutes in, we haven't heard anything interesting really about EA yet. What's going on? Finally, about halfway through their press conference, they announced something interesting. Unravel 2. That's right, the sequel to that League of Legends. But outside of the League of Legends community, does anyone care about the League of Legends top players? No. And that's how esports kind of is. It's not like mainstream athletics where everyone knows who LeBron James is. Even if you don't watch professional basketball, you know LeBron James. He's a worldwide celebrity. But I don't know who the fuck the person who's the best at NBA 2K is. I don't care, right? And that's how esports is. There's so many games and so many things that are competitive that it's a diluted field. No one cares about these top guys. I do not give a shit. New and you never seen. You're like, it's kind of weird, right? I'll be honest. I play mobile games. Right now I have actually I take it back, 3 active mobile games that I play recently. One of them's Tekken, the mobile game. One of them is a Marvel game, Future Fight, and another one is a WWE game that's probably the one I play the least, WWE Champions. It's like a stupid, it's like Bejeweled or something, you know, stupid game. But anyway, I like mobile games. I think that they're fun time wasters. This game watching, I was like, this looks like a game that I might be able to get into on my phone, right? And so the match finally ends, whatever, and the commentators are like, all right, so what you just saw was the worldwide debut of Command & Conquer Rivals. And the whole crowd's like, what? Command & Conquer? Now, if you guys aren't aware, because you might not, Command & Conquer was a franchise in the 1990s and early 2000s, incredibly popular PC exclusive franchise that then went out and branched out to do other things and ended up being console ports and the like. But this is an RTS franchise that what I've determined is that panels are fucking boring. I'm sorry. I've been on panels, like I've held my own panels. To me, panels are boring. Maybe that's just because I'm not a super fan of BioWare or whatever, and I didn't recognize these people that were up there. But I was bored to tears. Like, man, I just want to see the fucking game. Why do we got to sit through a panel for 10, 15 minutes before we get to see the game, right? So, what did we learn from the panel discussion? Well, that the world of Anthem will be a living share world in multiplayer, but the fort that is your main base is single player only. So basically what they're saying is there will be a hub. And when you go in there, it's all single player. You're by yourself, you talk to NPCs, you unlock more portions of the story, etc. But once you leave the hub, now you go to the multiplayer co-op version of the game, where you can team up with your friends to do all the missions. Sounds kind of like Destiny, only it seems like they fixed the problem with Destiny. So if you guys remember, in Destiny, the major problem is if your teammates haven't unlocked the next story chapter yet, they can't go to your hub and talk to that NPC to go to the next segment of the story. You can't enable the next mission. It's very frustrating in Destiny. If you're not all playing the same missions at the same time, you really can't do full co-op because everyone has to be like equivalent level and equivalent unlock in the story to get to the next segment, and it can be really a pain in the ass. What it sounds to me like is that this is Destiny, the same formula, only now everyone's story progression is completely individualized, right? And you can join anyone for any mission in the multiplayer world. It doesn't matter what mission it is, but your story progression is locked in your own hub. So you can go help your friend do a high-level mission later on in the story, but when you go back to your hub, you're still stuck at the same segment of story that you were at. You see what I mean? So maybe they've actually finally solved that issue with story progression in these co-op-based games. That's okay. Boxes, you're not going to buy your way into being overpowered, and also they're not going to try to sell a million DLCs down the road. That it's going to try to be a game that's robust and fun, and they will add content to it over the years, and it's going to be a long-term experience that you like because you bought it at launch, okay? The one thing that got me that was shocking, during this panel, they kept showing the same loop of about 2 minutes of visuals of the game, and it looped like 5 times. So it was like a 10-minute panel where you saw the same game footage 5 times. I'm like, this is not helping them at all. Just show the panel then. Stop showing the same loop of footage. I don't know what they were thinking there. There's going to be 4 different mech suits, which they're calling javelins in the game, and they're all customizable looks-wise, although, you know, the actual abilities are kind of going to be the same. You got one that's more like a tank, more that's the ranger, who's like more ranged combat, one that's the storm, who has like the lightning capabilities. You know, 4 different play styles, okay? Like 4 different classes in a class-based shooter like Destiny. Just saying, okay? Outside of that, they said that the game is complete from the get-go. Don't feel like when you buy the game, it's incomplete and they're going to add content to make it complete over time. It's not. It will be a complete game from the get-go when you finally buy it. And then they gave the release date, February 22nd, 2019. So it's supposed to be late February. All right. And then to end the show, and loneliness, right? You think loneliness, depression. These weren't themes that were tackled in video games just a few years ago. And now we're getting these games that are very much more in line with these more kind of serious adult emotional themes. So I'm interested to see how this game will tackle that. And then it says that this game will come out in early 2019. Okay. Oh, by the way, yes, that is brought up. Loudest Fart says, plus a big bonus to this whole EA Originals program. EA's not making money off these games. Yeah. EA does not make money off the sales of their indie games in these programs. So when you buy Unravel 2, if you buy Sea of Solitude, you're directly aiding that game developer to make a bigger and better games in the future rather than worrying about, oh no, this 2 thumbs fucking down for me. Did not enjoy this press conference. I thought that the only thing fun was the indie games. I mean, Unravel 2 I'll be playing this week. But outside of that, I could have skipped the whole fucking thing and nothing was lost. I didn't learn anything additional about any games that I cared about. You know, Battle Royale in Battlefield 5 is a non-announcement. They acted like it was a big thing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just didn't like it, and I hope that... You know what? It's funny, because EA, this is the second year in a row, EA says, we want to go first. We want to have our press conference on a Saturday, so that we can go ahead. Good! Get the shit out of the way so we can have good press conferences after. And you know what? I did not watch this press conference live, because Saturday is my day off in my new scheduling. I didn't miss anything. I'm glad I didn't watch it live. I actually would have felt like I wasted my fucking time watching this press conference live, and now I can focus, hopefully, on the better ones moving forward. So, EA... 2 thumbs down, EA 2018. Your press conference was shit for the various reasons I've mentioned in this video. Do better. I don't know what else to say. You guys know better. You should do better. You should do better. A few shout outs here to end this show. Brownified King just did a 100-bit cheer. He says, people will tell you I have... Oh. He's someone who got banned, and he says he's coming back and he's trying to behave himself. All right, fair enough. Thank you for your cheer. Metal Gear... Rex cheered. He says, DSP tries it doing a panel. Well, I've already done panels in the past. Like I said, some panels can be fun if you're announcing new stuff, but some panels can be boring as dirt. That Anthem panel was boring as dirt. Alice Telemon cheered. He said, enjoying the stream. The only way to consume E3. Almost at wow, apparently I almost had 1,000 viewers on this EA recap. Interesting. Thank you, guys. Eternal Napalm cheered. He says, EA's conference sucked. Hopefully Cyberpunk 2077 from Software and from Software's new IP or at Microsoft's conference. That would probably be really good. Eternal Napalm cheered again. He said, God of War is a masterpiece. Easily game of the year so far. And the Baldur boss fights were breathtaking. And Proto Assassin cheered 50 bits and says, Anthem reminds me of Dark Void as far as gameplay. See, I never played Dark Void. You might be making a valid comparison, but that was one of the games I skipped from last console gen. So I can't actually make that comparison. But all right, guys. So that is it for the 2018 E3 recap and reactions from me. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. I'll be doing the same for the other major press conferences. You know, Microsoft, Bethesda, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and Sony. So I hope you'll check them out, whether you're watching this live on stream on my Twitch channel or you're watching this on demand on DSP Gaming on YouTube. More videos like this coming up later today. So thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate you coming and check it out. And that is that. Thanks, guys.
Worthless specimen, get that ass banned.